All right, folks, welcome on back here this Wednesday afternoon, December 23rd. Happy Festivus, I should say. Let's get a quick sound check to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. And make it a quickie here. We have a class lined up this afternoon, finishing up the Phase 2 stock course, kind of our, continuation from this morning's class, rather. Great to see Bill, Chuck, Stephen, Debbie, all from the cyber group room, loud and clear from all. Perfect. All right, so let's just jump right into it. I mean, this FRSX still going back-to-back days. So, we watched this going into the afternoon yesterday. We're going to watch it going into the close today. So this will likely be one that we'll actually be watching live in class. So for any of our silver, gold, platinum, diamond, CTU students here in the trading room, I would say it's going to be a pretty important class, pretty fun class, hopefully, with this FRSX. So, yeah, for right now, I forgot the news on this. We copied and pasted it from yesterday, but right now, obviously, that's irrelevant. This is just pushing up beautifully. Just broke over 6. I would think the first pop from 6 would be a false breakout, but looked like there was a lot of buying off of 5 to begin. So it already made a big squeeze up. I would just be a little careful here at first. If it could break under, then break back over later on in the next 10, 15 minutes, perhaps we'll see it make a higher high. But for right now, definitely going to keep this in mind. So we'll just jump from top to bottom, folks, across the gainers and losers list. The OCGN trade. This gave us a lot more compared to what I thought it was going to give us, at least after the open. This was a great pre-market trade. Another one that we ended up following yesterday. Actually, yesterday, I got to go back on this meeting sometimes just to make sure I get my phrasing right, because I think I told you folks yesterday on like 500 plus million shares by 2:30, it wasn't as likely to make a big push going into the close. Well, ended up making a decent squeeze, right? A lot of it happened more in the after hours once it broke over 80 cents, but boy, did this fly up in pre-market. Ended up going from 130-ish, rather, 135, all the way up to, 240-ish. So that was even before 9:30. I would figure at least after the open, it would pull back. It ended up popping out of the gate right away. It got halted. And then from there, I mean, that's where I certainly thought it would be over. This just kept surprising me over and over. Ended up making a new move back up after. Normally once we see a stock get halted on the way down, that's typically the end of the run. So ended up making that second rare squeeze up higher up to 3. So, for the meantime, this one we're not going to put on our main list. I'm definitely not expecting anything at this point. It's always good to see a stock exceed our expectations, but it's not going to keep exceeding. So, same to be said to a great degree. Not the Warren says much for this, but the XL stock. So I want to give a big shout out to Bill I in the chat board here. He gave us the tip, the heads up on this XL SPAC, the SPAQ company, pushing up after the market opened up, blasted right over 20, and really just flew from that point. And obviously right now making a new high, soaring up to 33 and above. So, the same rules apply here. I mean, although this looks incredible at this moment, I mean, just moving upward, it has a big spread. It has a thin order book. So for as steady as it's been, it's going to come back down soon. It's breaking all-time highs, so there is no historical ground to work off of, nothing on the daily chart to look at. You got to follow level 3, or if not level 3, then perhaps just bookmap. But for the meantime, yeah, I would be a little careful on this trade at this point. See it pull back down and build up new support. If it keeps going at this pace, it's going to get halted. That's my belief. So we'll check back in with that perhaps at the end. SCPS stock from probably earlier this week. I don't think it was yesterday, but it was earlier this week. It was a pump and dump, and yeah. Bingo, familiar name, BNGO. I was going to spell out bingo, geez. BNGO, we like to nickname it Bingo, BNGO here, though. Ended up making a pop from 65 cents heading into the late morning, early afternoon, right at 12 o'clock Eastern. So for what it's worth, it's still at the highs right now. I mean, it's right there. So I'm going to take a look on the daily chart. We followed this stock. It was more so going back into, I think it was even October of this year. It was off this pop up, if anything. It was a nice run up, but dumped back down at the time, continued dropping down lower. If I'm not mistaken, a couple of us I thought were pretty interested on the swing side here. Didn't make that big push there, but perhaps now, I mean, we'll see. We'll check in with this tomorrow on a half day, Christmas Eve. But certainly for the meantime today, we'll put this on our main list. All right, SCNS. He had a bunch of cheapies on the gainers list early in pre-market. This one not as much from pre-market, more so moved after the open. But you'll notice here as we keep going from top to bottom, a bunch of these cheapies that moved. ADXS, LKCO. This one's looking pretty interesting. It's testing 80 cents right now, and taking quite a hit back from October of last year, even over a year ago. I don't know what the float is on this stock. It's a real cheapie. I'm normally not as keen to follow these cheapies. We typically try and stay over $1, really. I mean, obviously, even more expensive than that. But for right now, it's hard to resist this trend, right? It's pushing up so well up to 80 cents. So this is exactly where we would want this to be, kind of similar to BNGO. So it's hard to not put this on for right now. I'll probably not focus on this as much during the class. I'll be honest there. UAVS made a nice move today. It looks like it's pushing back up once again. This thing's been an animal lately this whole week. I mean, really, the same rules apply. When is this going to pull back? Well, it pulled back yesterday a bit, but then shot up in the afternoon. And then same thing happens here today. Ended up dumping off after the open. And, going into 12:30, 1 o'clock Eastern, ended up making a big pop from 775 up to 815, perhaps that is on the chart. Squeezed up higher going into the early afternoon. So, you know what? We'll put this back on too. This is the UAVS. Ooh, I want to give Mark a big shout out here. Mark D in the chat board, he wrote to us his entry and exit on the FRSX trade. He just clocked out. He took a 20-cent profit. He was in from 571, closed out at 591. Take the money and run, Mark, right? Nice job. All right, so for right now, let's see what else we have here across the gainers list. Let's see. Fuel cell. Man, speaking of monsters today, this thing has just been ridiculous. One of the bigger runs I've ever seen. Probably back from the end of November, we caught this on a real nice move up. But, same thing happens here today. Took a little while to get the gears going, but we ended up seeing a ton of volume off of 13. I ended up recording it, so we'll probably, view it at some point for a future class in the next calendar year, probably like next month even. But nonetheless, there was like a bunch of orders stacked up at 13, 12.99, 13.01, 13.03, something you normally don't see. Well, it sliced through that extremely fast. So it looked as if it created support, and it's still trying to, hold over that price point right now. So, normally fuel cell, a stock trading 140 plus million shares at this point in the day, I wouldn't be as jumpy, as keen to trade. But you know what? Based on the volatility today, we'll put this back on for right now. All right, let's see what else we have here, folks. Sorrento, another one, just pushing up and up and up today. So we were watching this from pre-market. News came out. I think it was like, FDA authorization on their antibody testing kit. If I'm kind of just thinking off the top of my head there. I don't want to dive into Benzinga Pro right now, folks. Like I said, I'm just going to zip through here. But nonetheless, news or not, this thing just made a really nice squeeze after the open. Took a little while to do so, but then broke above 780 here and took off. And since, obviously, has been rolling. So, Sorrento is a stock that we are very familiar with inside this trading room. We've called this out frequently over the past year, really, at this point, pretty much since March. So, yeah, right now, just why not put this right back on our list? We got a bunch of familiar names now between fuel cell, the Sorrento, even that UAVS from this week. MBIO is strong from earlier today. Norman called that one out a few times. Nice call, moved up pretty nicely there. It's kind of holding underneath 4, so maybe on the side list that goes. See from David C inside the trading room really quick. I normally do this at the end, but just kind of go through fast. The EOSE trade, not doing anything right now there, David. It's not convincing enough for me to put this on the list just yet. Big spread too, very thin order book. It did make a nice pop and run earlier today as well. So great call from this morning, but volume died off. This thing's not really going much of anywhere just yet. All right. I think that just about does it on the gainer side here, folks. One last thing, actually. We'll take a look. The warrants are catching my eye. I want to take a look on Fisker, FSR. It's up 9%. My order book's like super thin. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if that's a trade station issue or what, or if that's what the order book really looks like. I would assume it'd have to be more liquid. FSR ended up making a nice run, but I guess you could say the same thing with this, as I had said with David's EOSE. Right now, not much happening here. So familiar name, just wanted to look at it. Lastly, Watt. I didn't look at this just before, but also one from earlier today made a big move. Not happening right now, though. All right, we'll hop over to the losers list here pretty quickly, folks. Time is 2:40, so we're making good with time. CLRB, bunch of stuff hard to borrow. JG, like 1 million share iceberg order at 5 yesterday. I still have the line up and dumped off since. So the AMPE trade, it is shortable. Just made a nice drop. I don't know what happened there. Ended up making a huge run, I guess, across the last few days. Notably, yesterday, we ended up trading it on the way up, but I forgot that it was hard to borrow. So I guess I ended up missing this from earlier in the morning. There was so much else to trade, though, so I don't really care. Listen, it is tradable. It technically is tradable. I would normally put this on our main list. I think that we have a pretty good list so far. So unless if there's anything, maybe trading more, not more volume, but even higher price, that could be a steadier short with a break. This is dropping off nicely for right now, but for as much as it already dropped, is it going to just keep continuing? We'll see. I mean, it is tradable. Maybe on a non-holiday week, I'd be more prone to put that on our list. This SPPI is garbage. All right, that's it, folks. I think that just about does it. Man, that was fast. If there's anything else that you folks see, just type it in the chat boards. I will look at Benzinga Pro. I have nothing here from social media. Anyone on Facebook Live, YouTube, please let me know. I don't think that I missed anything just yet, unless if there's anything like popping off of news literally as I'm talking, which can happen, but let's take a look. I'll just jump on my Benzinga Pro, at least for right now. There was a technical issue yesterday for anyone on social media, so unfortunately we weren't able to stream. I ended up showing my Benzinga Pro signals page. I can't do that today as much, but I'm loading it up on a separate screen. A Macy's high of the day right now, looks like. It's up 9+%. It's there. ABEO up 14%. This is a cheaper one. I feel like this one can make some more room to run up. I don't mind slipping this on here. It's from Benzinga Pro Signals page right now. Got Amarin, AMRN at the high of the day. Looks kind of like a Fausto flag building, but not for right now. I do see Pola popping up right now on Benzinga Pro Norm, pushing up nicely, and then along with that, Debbie, Sun W. Those will kind of move together, and along that, I think it's called Westwater. Ooh, they ended up dumping off today. Normally, they'll all kind of move similarly. I guess making a small little bounce up now, but looks like Pola and Sun W are both looking a bit stronger here. Yeah, nice pop from 6 just now, Norm. Good call. And Sun WW, I'd imagine, would do similar, but just keep an eye on it. Definitely for right now, we'll add both. All right. Michael M going back to FRSX. He picked up 44 cents. He was in from 572. So he ended up closing out around 615-ish, just shooting from the hip there, I'm guessing. Right around there, maybe 620. Nice trade. VFF from Tony. I saw this on the gainer side. I didn't click on it, but I maybe should have. I mean, this is right there at the highs now, up 25%. Man, we have a lot to work with here, folks. So, this will be a really good continued talk from this morning's class, that being phase 2, lesson 3 from earlier today. We were talking about working with a really big watch list going into the afternoon or even going into any trading session. So we'll kind of continue that in just a moment. I was close there, Michael, 616. That was quick thinking. All right. Macy's looks slow. I'm not as keen to put that on the list. I like the others, though, for right now, that being ABEO, Sun W, Pola, and the VFF here. All right, folks, I think we're good. We're honestly good. So, you know what? I'm going to say this in class, and a little free tip for all of us on social media. Start and stick with this list. I say that anyway, pretty much. But nonetheless, just start and stick with this list, at least for right now. Let's say in the next 10, 15 minutes, there's nada out there. Let's say there's nothing from this list moving. Then, and only at that point, perhaps you look to rescan the market, see what else is out there. I mean, unless if something is just purely exploding right now. The last thing I will say, because I'm looking at Benzinga Pro, maybe I will put this last one on the list. Talking about exploding. It's getting a pop. Tilray, look at this. So familiar name for all of us inside the trading room. Tilray popped up on my page here, just a bunch of little alerts. So I wanted to look at it. It's a lot of volume coming in now. Wow, a lot of buying just came in off that 920. All right, I want to check to see if there's news on this right now, actually. That's a pretty big volume spike. And of course, my Benzinga Pro now is freezing up on me. All right, I don't know what the news is. Let me see if I can pull it up now. No, I can't. It's freezing up on me. All right. Well, listen, it's a lot of volume. It looks pretty good. So, you know what? I'll kind of slip this on here at the end. From David C is asking about Blink. Nah, not right now, Dave. Just the order book's too thin. Not much going on there. That's definitely more of a level 4 to 5 stock, I'd say. I'd be really careful on that. All right, we'll slip on Tilray at the end there, and I'm sure perhaps the other pot stocks can move with it if the whole sector's running, but we'll start with Tilray and go from there. All right, folks, for all of us on social media, if I don't have the chance to talk to you folks tomorrow, perhaps I want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. That goes for anybody, and especially, of course, Christmas ahead here on the 25th. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to all. And then otherwise, and I mean, hey, tomorrow's a half day in the market. So, we'll be on in the morning to do Fausto's morning briefing. That's why I say I probably won't be on myself to wrap things up for the afternoon. I'll be in the trading room for all of you guys there. But nonetheless, though, folks, I'll jump back on here in just a moment, and then from there, we'll have class later on at just at 3 o'clock Eastern. Take care.